running in the Wildmount campaign setting. As I mentioned in the previous video about my post Lost Mines campaign, um, this game and the other one do take place at generally the same time in the game world. But I'll catch up a little bit on how this game is going. Um, so first off, we have Jax, the Tabaxi rogue fighter, who's once a noble, wishing to prove himself. We have Tiern, a furbolg raised by dwarves, and he is a war cleric and fighter. We have Royals, an Earth Genasi paladin nobleborn. And there's also Fena, who is a furbolg druid, whose people were slaughtered by elves and spend 100 years alone in a lost temple. There is Cleek, an Arakocra ranger, who is a smuggler turned bounty hunter, and Guldoon, half-orc barbarian from an unknown world. Um, Again, same with the last game. There's a lot of players, so people's lives change. At some point, a couple of these players do drop, but I'll get to that later. This group began as a bunch of misfits brought together by a job. They were hired to track down a group of rogue Myriad Syndicate members who supposedly stole several holy relics from temples in Port de Mali, and in the process killing several high priests and clergy. For retrieving the relics and bringing the rogue group in dead or alive, um, they were promised 150 platinum pieces. They were also told they would get a home in the um, middle district of Port de Mali. So not rich, but you know, not poor either. And they would also receive a pardon for past crimes and the crimes committed in the Clovis Concord territories um, that were required to complete this task of theirs. Um, Unfortunately, Guldoon did not last long. He was only in for a session or two. He wasn't able to make the games anymore and just stopped playing altogether. Um, the second player was Cleek. He actually also had scheduling differences. He actually plays Grok and Vax in my other game. I'm sure if you'll hear his voice if you tune into the stream. Um, the way his character exited, though, he got a message from his god, setting him upon a different mission. So that's the way he split from the group. Um, Now, when they received this job, the first clue that the group received was that the the Myriad Syndicate rogue group was possibly in the Crystal Sands tundra in the Graying Wildlands, which, as you can see, is up in this general area, way up here. Blow that up a little bit. There we go. Um, once they arrived in Palebank Village. However, on the way to Palebank Village, um, they took a ship actually that went from Port de Mali, sailed all the way around, and up to Palebank Village. So from starting point to the time they actually got to play, it was quite a while. Um, on the way, however, they did run into a pirate ship. Of course, a battle ensued. Jax, our Tabaxi rogue, um, used a flaming arrow from the crow's nest and targeted a barrel which, through decent rolls, he believed would probably hold black powder. Unfortunately, what he didn't know is that the black powder that was on top of the deck, there was more barrels underneath of it in the middle deck of the ship. So upon blowing up the entire back ass end of the pirate ship, um, they were then able to hear people inside screaming for help. This was something I added just for fun. It was kind of improv, but it played out really well. The players had a blast doing it. They were able to hear people that were screaming inside, and um, they could tell that they were in distress, not because the ship was sinking or because of pirates, but there was something else to it. So upon investigating, while the others fought the battle, Jax was able to discover that in the underneath of the ship there were, I believe it was 40 or 50 people chained to the walls, on benches. They're basically just slaves, just stuck there, in a sinking ship in what would, for us in the real world, basically be Arctic waters. Um, so Jax risked multiple levels of exhaustion. As this water is so cold, you get exhaustion very quickly just for touching the water. He was able to save, um, I believe they were able to save about 75 or 80% of the people in there, including a queen and several of her royal guard. Um, Unfortunately, about 15 people did die, including the queen's younger sister. But she did take it. I wouldn't say she took it easily, but she understood. They saw the error that they had made, and they did do their best to help. Um, After this, the queen um, then took control of the ship and offered to take them where they needed to go. And it just so happened that she was heading to Palebank Village as well. Um, from here, I used the Frozen Sick um, module in the Adventurer's Guide to Wildmount book. So I don't want to ruin too much of that for you, but it takes them across to Easel Cross Isles, which are this area up in here. They land at Serinia. Once there, they go on some adventuring, to uh, to heal some people, find a antidote for a certain disease. While there, they actually run across a revenant who was hanging out by a destroyed caravan. Um, they helped him out with what he needed, and they were able to kill the ones who the destroyed the caravan, um, as they were about to start hacking up a young black griffin who was injured. Um, this griffin ends up being Royal's mount a little bit later on, once they get a little more friendly with it. Um, they also find in the caravan a white dragon egg, which she figured out what it was. I'm pretty sure she rolled a nat 20 on that nature check. She decided to let it hatch and tried to befriend it. Um, Though it regarded her as a helpful companion, it of course did what it wanted. It is a white dragon after all. The presence of this dragon caused much tension among the group, as White Dragon's personality is that of an apex predator. Um, while they were in a dungeon, just a couple days after finding this egg, um, the player character Tiern, the player decided that he actually wanted to try out a different character concept he had made. Which I allowed, and I asked him how he wanted to do it. Um, Basically, with Tiern's and this new character Drazen's backstory intermingled with each other. Um, so as a portal opened and something yanked Tyrn in, which would be a bad guy from his backstory, which you will actually find out if you watch my first stream of the Wildmount campaign. You'll find out who that is very soon. And as Tyrn was pulled in, Draz, uh, Drazin, which would be a Minotaur, um, jumped out after much discussion and the group's feelings on the matter and opinions kind of faded into acceptance, and they decided that once they were done doing what they had to do here, they wished to possibly find a way to save Tyrn from this possible enemy. Um, After they finished the Frozen Sick module of Adventure's Guide to Wildermount campaign, um, they found they've been given a tip, actually two. One, that there might be somebody in the Savalier Wood, a group of druids who might be able to help make this white dragon a little more friendly. Um, and they were also told that in Uthadern, which is right here, that somebody had been asking about a group that fits the player group's description. And they were kind of tipped off that it might be the people that they're looking for. So after they had completed that, the group headed towards Uthadern and took part in a mammoth hunting contest. The reward for this contest was half a mammoth of the one they killed. They could do whatever they like with it. Um, they were also to be given a hefty reward in coin, and they were provided a dinner with the Dwarven King, or sorry, Dwarven Queen, and Elven King of Uthadern. Um, During the contest, not only did they kill the biggest mammoth, they also killed somebody who was trying to cheat at the contest. Although they weren't given much option, uh, a frostworm also appeared, which between them and the cheating blood hunter NPC was slain as well. Once they arrived at the dinner, I mean, they had to do a little bit of shopping because none of them got fancy clothes. Um, they had to they headed into the palace to have dinner with the royalty. This, however, ended very quickly after Fena, who, if you remember, his family was killed by elves, verbally spat in the king's face. And uh, after the group had asked for a way to the Moonshiles, where they believed Tyrn's being held, and when asked why they want to go there other than to help their friend, Drazhan stands up, ripping open his shirt, revealing an entire body of scars and screaming something about "so this doesn't ever happen to anybody else." I mean, obviously you can there's only a couple ways to go with this, but the king and queen immediately got up, leave the dinner, but grant them their wish um, to get them to the Moonshae Isles, which is on Faerun, which completely derailed my campaign for the moment, but I'm pretty sure I've figured out how to fix it. um, they end up. The only reason the king and queen allowed this was because it was quicker than having them escorted out, and having the winners of the contest escorted out might not look the best. So they were they said they have a portal to in the city that goes to the Moonshay. Um, it goes to Iron Keep actually. Let's see if I've got. Here we go. All right, so Iron Keep is right here. This is the place where they land once they are portaled into um, the Moonshay Isles. So, almost as soon as they get there, they open the wrong set of doors, which leads outside of the building into the courtyard, where they run face first into two owl bears and a wyvern. Fight ensues. It was a rough fight, but they did survive it. Um, of course, this is where I messed up, cause um, while they decided to continue um, searching the near vicinity, they came upon two decks of cards. One was the deck of illusions. The second one, as I'm sure you can guess, is the deck of many things. Well, I've known two of my players for a long time. I should have realized that this is their absolute weakness. I don't think I'll ever go to a casino with them. It will not go well. Um, so, uh, one of them pulls the Donjon card, which is in fact Draz. Draz pulls the Donjon card. All of his stuff drops to the ground immediately, and his body vanishes into an extra dimensional space. Which one? At the they don't really know. Um, Jax decides he's gonna pull some cards. Jax pulls the Void card. He immediately drops to the ground with everything he's wearing, and he seems to be breathing, but his soul is gone. He's unconscious. And that was pretty much where that session ended. So, for the next session, oh, I should also mention that the group before leaving Uthadern, Royals unfortunately had not made it to a couple sessions, and he had decided that while they were heading to Uthadern, he was going to train his friend Griffin and his squire Jimmy. Nobody decided to figure out a way to tell Royals where they were going. So, as far as he knows, uh, there's Guy has no idea where his friends are. Um, so he's been in Wildmount searching for them. Um, so when he finally came back, the two players who pulled bad cards from the deck of many things, and the player whose character had no idea where the group was, re-rolled a couple characters. First, we have Terra Starleaf, who is I believe a wood elf ranger, beastmaster. Now I allowed for some homebrew on the beastmaster because there's a few things about it I think are completely ridiculous and unfair. Um, so he has an owl bear friend. However, it's not a full-grown owl bear. It basically grows with the character, so it's not completely overpowered. There is Daisy, the halfling gunslinger. And then the player who was playing as Royals before will for now be playing as Adrak, the bugbear barbarian. He really loves copper. He's a strange fellow. But yeah, copper matters more than anything else. Um, they run into the group. Um, well, the group that is actually at the moment only consisting of Fena and oh, I should have mentioned during the frigid or during the um, time in Crystal Sands Tundra and Easel Cross, they ran into another player character named Michael Bishop. He is a human fighter. Yes, sorry, a ranged hunter, ranged, wow, okay, a human hunter ranger. There we go. Um, so now the only two people who are left would be Michael Bishop and Fana, and they run into this other group that is entering the castle, or entering Iron Keep. Um, the Terra Starleaf actually happens to have a bag of Hunter. What this item does is whatever you put in, it stores in basically a time stop. So whatever you put into it, whenever you take it out, it's like you would just put it in. You know, meat doesn't spoil, so it doesn't need to be refrigerated. Yada yada yada. So they slide Jax's body into this bag to hold him for the moment. Um, the three new companions, along with Fana and Michael Bishop, continue um, clearing out the castle. They find five orcs, quickly dispatch them. They find some nice amounts of coin and treasures. Um, but as they get to one side of the building, they notice a flame in the darkness coming down the path towards the castle. Um, Terra Starleaf, Adrak, and Daisy all believe that they know what it is. It's the beings that dwell in the Iron Keep at the moment. And for those of you who know anything about Iron Keep and the Moonshays, I'll explain why this whole area is the way it is in a little bit. They set up. They prep for a fight and they set up. Um, Basically, getting ready to assault anything that walks through the door. Unfortunately, what walks through the door is five orcs, one orc war chief that is magically geared to the tits, one Atin, and one Fomorian. The battle almost killed half the group. They did survive, but barely. And to be honest, I thought I was gonna have to pull some punches with that one, so they didn't die. I actually didn't. I was pretty impressed with how they handled most of it. Unfortunately, OB, which is what Terra's owlbear companion is called, um, did catch the Fomorian stare, which, if anybody knows anything about that, it is basically a curse. It is not good. um, they after the fight, they decide that they are going to take a long rest in the castle. Which for some reason Adrak has destroyed all of the furniture that he came across. For some reason, like I said, interesting character. He does some strange shit. Um, they start to they want to head towards Norheim, which is this area way up here, because they know that the castle, um, Draz had told them where the castle is, and it's way up there, pretty much where my marker is. Um, as they're leaving Iron Keep, though, they do find a group of people whose ship was taken arriving on the Isle, um, by those dwelling in the Iron Keep, and they have been trying to survive while remaining hidden since. They all look very rough, sickly, and it looks like about just under a skeleton crew worth of shipmates. So you kind of get the feeling that a lot of them have died. Um, the people say, "Look, great. We have a ship. We will take you where you need to go. But right now, we do need food and we need to rest. If you can give us one day, we will we'll take you wherever you'd like to go. We're getting out of this area as soon as possible." The group agrees, and they then decide to hang out for the day. The next day, however, um, they get on the water, and the water they find is eerily quiet, which is when a crew member tells them of why. Um, why there's nobody almost left in the Moonshay Isles at all. Um, there was in a real life game, um, myself and some other people were playing. I had a character named Savage. He was a necromancer. Um, he became part of the Kraken Guard, along with Navarra, Oleg, Akari, and Bronzino. Which, if you watch the Horrors of Hinesh video, you will hear those names kind of often at this point. Savage and Navarra kind of went off reservation. Something happened, and basically my horde um, just went throughout all of the Moonshay Isles, in between the real life game we've been playing and this, uh, the Wildmount and Lost Mine setting. So we have homebrewed this a little bit. I know, OC, this place is still thriving and whatnot. In our games, this place is a wasteland. You can find some creatures around now and then, but there's not much. Most of the population has been completely wiped out. Um, he goes on to tell the group about Savage and Navarra and the Kraken Guard, and how even just in this area there used to be plenty of Sahagin that were constantly warring with the people of this area, and even they are now gone. There's nothing left here but desolation. Um, and as they pass Care Allison right here, they give it a wide berth, and you can smell the rot and the mold and the death in the air permeating off this island. Um, Navarra likes to play games. At one point, as they were passing, she basically made a huge like sea mushroom just like pop up underneath the ship just to put it, take it a little bit out of the water and then drop it. Not enough to do any damage, just for a little game. To which Daisy responded with a basically a very long sniper shot. Um, was able to do it. In fact, she rolled a nat 20 on that attack. To which Navarro responded with a laughter because, I mean, a level six versus, what level these characters would be, which would be a very high CR at this point in their in Navarra's and Savage's storylines. Um, but as but the rest of the trip kind of goes off without a hitch. Um, they then arrive at Seawolf Village, which is right here, because they want some time to prep, and the shipmates did tell them of of the Seawolf Village, which has one of the last groups of living people in the area that's well known. Upon arriving, there is a less than friendly moment between Branwyn, which is a storm cleric and leader of the village, and Daisy. It ends up with Branwyn in the water, and he laughs, saying that he thinks he's gonna like that one. Um, Bishop and Branwyn end up going to have a drink in the local pub, um, and during their conversation, Bishop explains to them why they are here in this area. Um, Branwyn shows some genuine interest and says we might be willing to help if your group can pass a test of strength. Bishop says he'll bring it to the group, and as soon as Daisy walks in and Bishop mentions it to her, she's like, "How about now?" Um, okay, so that kind of caught him off guard. He said, "Okay, meet me in the square in 10 minutes." This is where shit got dicey, boys. So this is the end product of what happened. They gathered around. There were The ones with the red dots, as you can see here, 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 and here, um, were the um, were the town's strong ones, and they were pit in a fight against the group. Um, After the first couple players' characters' turns, they almost had a couple of the other ones down, and then unfortunately, shit went absolutely sideways for the group. Tara was the last one left standing, and instead of running, she fought to the bitter end. She got knocked unconscious, and as she fell into unconsciousness, um, actually, sorry, I should say the other ones had full death. Because as this started, um, the crier, her shouted, "This is a fight to the death. Last group standing wins." Um, which of course, as you can see, Tara was not the last one standing, but the last of the main group. The other ones were all dead, and as Tara faded off into unconsciousness, she heard Branwyn shout, "All right, they passed. Get them inside, bring them back, and get them healed." Um, that was pretty much where it ended for that game. So we will be picking up with the characters waking back up from their um, untimely death. I hope to see you guys when I stream this game. This one will be on December 19th. Um, Hopefully, you're all able to make it, and you smash that follow and subscribe button if you want to get notifications about when I'm streaming. Um, Hopefully, you enjoyed this. Take her easy, everybody.